Should we more heavily be reading into the fact that the Cardinals still haven't released their spring training invites? Plus, a look at where the Cardinals rank in the MLB's top 100 prospects list, and finally, where ESPN predicts Brendan Donovan will land. Thank you for tuning in to the St. Louis Cardinals Daily Podcast. My name is Andrew Teuscher, and the Cardinals still haven't released their spring training non-roster invites. Now, typically this is a small piece of news, something that goes passing by, a tweet, and then you realize it was out there and you look into it weeks after. Usually this isn't a big deal at all, but a really cool tweet pointed out that this is weird that the Cardinals still haven't done this small thing, and I think it might be sending us a signal. Redbird Farmhands on Twitter, which is an excellent Twitter or X follow, pointed out that the Cardinals still haven't released their non-roster invites, which are the players who are not on the 40-man roster who have to be invited to spring training. So the guys on the 40-man automatically get an invite to spring training. Everyone else doesn't. A ton of young guys, a lot of guys who get signed, who are younger or older, have been out of the league. They have to get a roster invite if they're not already on the 40-man. And Redbird Farmhands pointed out that the last 3 years in a row, the Cardinals have reported their non-roster invites on January 16th, January 10th, and January 17th. And we're sitting here well past those days whenever you're watching this, and we still haven't released that list. Now, what could this be telling us? I'm guessing it has something to do with an impending Brendan Donovan trade. Chaim Bloom has mentioned in the past that he wants to give some sort of resolution to Brendan Donovan before spring training. So this lets us know a couple things. One, the Brendan Donovan hype isn't just out of nowhere. That he's truly being shopped out there. And I know that's not something that everyone finds a surprise, but I think should be mentioned because some folks are saying he's definitely not going to get traded. And I don't think they're necessarily wrong at this point, but it's worth saying that's probably true at this point. So we don't know if Brendan Donovan's going to get traded or not. We know Chaim Bloom said he wants to get this settled before spring training, and maybe this is part of the reason why he doesn't want to offer a non-roster invite to a guy he literally has to revoke this to. Jojo Romero still might be going out the door. So this tells me that there might still be some trades on the horizon for the Cardinals, and they're holding out as long as possible. A small bit of news that could be going with it is I recently heard on KMOX radio, again, great coverage of the Cardinals as they get. They just redid a lot of the Cardinals facilities down there in spring training in Florida, so maybe they are switching stuff up there and they don't know numbers that they can invite. Whatever it is, or the situations and they just haven't formally sent them out. Whatever it is, you guys let me know what you think's going on, but we still haven't gotten this list, and we're well over a week over when we typically get this list. And maybe it's just a Bloom thing. It is new ownership, that is new leadership. That's something that's worth noting, but at least strange at this point because most other teams have also put out their list. So again, great note there by Redbird Farmhands. Maybe this is something, or maybe I'm crazy and just reading into nothing. Both are likely. Been through both before. Anyway, next to talk about for the St. Louis Cardinals is where the Cardinals rank on MLB's top 100 list. We have 5 players who made the MLB Pipeline's top 100 prospects, and we talked previously about Baseball America's list, which is also a really big deal, and where some players have been trickling in on their position ranks, but finally we got the official MLB top 100 prospects. It's what everybody references whenever tweets go out, when a trade happens, or you're talking about a team's farm system. You reference this list. As great as Baseball America and Fangraphs can be too, this is like the list. And the Cardinals have 5 prospects in the top 100, which is well above what it typically is for the Cardinals, which is showing that the rebuild is finally gathering something. Again, Baseball America gave the Cardinals the award for most improved farm system, and it's really showing. The players on the list, J.J. Weatherholt, of course, ranks at number 5 for the St. Louis Cardinals, and the guys ahead of him are all a bunch of shortstops. We talked about it previously. He's the 5th-ranked shortstop. He's the 5th-ranked overall prospect in baseball. Potentially some guy who could really win the Rookie of the Year for the Cardinals. We know him. Whether he's at third base, whether he's at second base, he should be a real difference maker for the Cardinals next year. The next highest for the Cardinals is Liam Doyle, our recently drafted left-handed pitcher who got a little bit of a run in Major League Baseball. And he recently talked again on KMOX in an interview about how he was excited to get to be a part of the championship run that the AA team has, which was awesome. He was excited to get with those guys. They offered him the opportunity to take some time and rest and not get rushed into the season. He said, no, I want to get with the guys. I want to get throwing. I want to get a taste for this. And they were happy to have him down there. So Liam Doyle, one of the top left-handed pitching prospects in all of baseball. I believe he's ranked 5th off the top of my head. An exciting guy. Flamethrower, and just he's insane. That guy's crazy. Liam, if you're someone watching this, you're crazy, and I love you for it. We're going to love that energy on the mound, something the Cardinals have not had in When's the last hot-headed Cardinals pitcher who, came off the mound crazy and energetic? Carlos Martinez? That sort of energy, I'm all for it. I'm excited to see it. And when you pump 100, it's even better. Right after Liam Doyle is Rainiel Rodriguez, who's at the 37th overall prospect in all of baseball and one of the top catching prospects in all of baseball. At just 19 years old, this is a pretty volatile prospect, only being 19, not really seeing upper side of the minor league system just yet, at least not a ton of it, but still showing so much raw power. Looks like a tree trunk out there swinging a baseball bat. It looks like he could be a top-notch power hitter in Major League Baseball coming forward. Maybe not J.J. Weatherholt level prospect hitting-wise, but a guy who could bring some serious thump that the Cardinals desperately need, seeing as we're probably going to be one of the worst power-hitting teams next year. I think we'll hit for a decent average. We are not going to hit many home runs. Alec Burleson and Ivan Herrera are probably going to be the top home run hitters, and I don't see either of them sniffing 30 home runs. Maybe Herrera. Maybe. Right after him is another guy who's got some serious pop in his bat, Joshua Baez. First time appearing on the top 100 list for the St. Louis Cardinals. He's ranked 87th overall, the outfielder who's got speed, who's got power, and took a massive leap last year. This is a guy, when you see him in the batter's box, looks like an MLB hitter. He is massive. He is athletic. He is ready to roam a Cardinals outfield that needs some rejuvenation and probably could come up this year. That's the exciting part about the Cardinals prospects. I know it stinks that we're rebuilding, but you could see Doyle this year. You will see Weatherholt this year, and you'll probably see Baez. You might even see this next guy, although probably not. That is Leonardo Bernal, the 98th ranked prospect in all of baseball, and the Cardinals' 5th highest ranked prospect according to MLB Pipeline. Known more for his glove, which we can always appreciate in St. Louis, and especially with Yadier Molina working with Bernal a lot. This guy could be special defensively. He needs to work on his hitting in order for him to really progress as a prospect, but this dude's got one of the best gloves in all of the minor league system at the catcher position, and I'm excited to see what it could be if things don't work out with Crooks and if Ivan Herrera moves on to another position. There could really be an opening here for Leonardo Bernal at the major league level, and again, a guy who could be up this year. Worth noting that the Cardinals were tied for third most prospects on the list. The only teams ahead of them were the Guardians and the Mariners. There's a bunch of teams tied at 5, but the Cardinals are right up there with everyone else. Again, an exciting time for the Cardinals. We're getting young, we're getting better, and hopefully in 27 and 28, the Cardinals could be competing for something with all these prospects coming up. So we'll keep covering these guys as they pop up during the season. Don't you worry, I'll give you some progress updates. Last thing I want to talk about, the latest on the Brendan Donovan saga. It's just going on and on forever. And I don't know if anything will ever happen, but Bradford Doolittle of ESPN has a prediction for the St. Louis Cardinals. He says that Brendan Donovan is going to go to the San Francisco Giants. I could see it. Reports have come out saying that this is a location that Brendan Donovan's been heavily considered to. He's been aggressively pursued by the San Francisco Giants, said one report. And the reason Doolittle lays out are pretty simplistic. And I'm not sure obviously these reasons are valid, but they aren't huge selling points to me. Basically, he mentions very briefly that the Giants need a second baseman, and the Cardinals are having a fire sale. That doesn't necessarily mean the Cardinals have to trade Brendan Donovan. This is a thing we've been saying over and over and over again. The Cardinals do not have to trade Brendan Donovan. In fact, Katie Woo has been all over the place, frankly, over the last couple of weeks, reiterating that Chaim Bloom will not trade Brendan Donovan for nothing. They have to be, quote, blown away in order to trade away Brendan Donovan. That's what we've been saying. And I don't know if teams haven't been believing it and are putting this stuff out there. I don't know who's releasing that they're talking and trying to acquire Brendan Donovan. And we've seen trade packages, but the Cardinals are not willing to move on from him until we see something that really blows us away, which, again, is very good. It's what we want to see because Brendan Donovan, years of control, a guy who's openly talked about how much he loves St. Louis. Some people are saying, well, it's a contract extension. You'll have to sign it with him later. What if he leaves? We'll get nothing for him. This is a guy who's talked about how much he loves the city, how dedicated he is to the city. He's doing tons and tons of community projects. He just seems like a guy that would stay in St. Louis if we pay him, and the Cardinals should have plenty of money to pay him because we're paying nobody over the next couple of years. We have almost no money on the books. I think probably no money on the books 2-3 years out, outside of guys who aren't even on the roster. So the Cardinals have plenty of room to bring Donovan in and keep him if they want. Well, Jeff Passan has been said 2 weeks ago that the Giants are aggressively pursuing a second baseman and that they've been engaged in talks with Brendan Donovan and Nico Horner. We obviously know the desire from the Seattle Mariners. I don't know if the Boston Red Sox have another move in them still. Maybe they could. We know that the Red Sox and the Cardinals clearly have some sort of connection there. And, of course, any team could come out of nowhere wanting Donovan, make a move for him. I don't know what it'll take to get Brendan Donovan off the team. We won't know until he gets traded, but it's going to have to be something hefty. And so I'm starting to more and more think Brendan Donovan's going to be a St. Louis Cardinal next year. That's kind of where I'm going. At this point, I chalk it up as it's a coin flip of Brendan Donovan stays or goes, and I'm curious what you guys think about it. Again, the Giants one is a little bit confusing to me. There's not a ton of prospect alignment, really. The top prospects for the Giants, they have 2 in the top 100. And that's Bryce Eldridge, who's MLB ready, going to come up and help the Giants next year. So I don't see why they'd move him. I'd see why we'd take him. But I don't think they're going to move on from him. He's the 25th prospect in baseball. And then they also have Joshua Gonzalez, who would make more sense for Brendan Donovan and what the Cardinals are desiring. I'm not saying they'd give him up, but if the Cardinals are wanting to be blown away, he's the 44th ranked prospect in baseball, an 18-year-old who was the top international signing last year outside of Roki Sasaki, who obviously headlined everything. So I don't think it lines up a ton. Maybe Gonzalez could make sense for the Cardinals, the young position player. We'll see what happens. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think Brendan Donovan's staying, or do you think he's going? And do you think the non-roster invite has something to say about that? Is a indication that the Cardinals are still desperately trying to move him and get him gone before spring training? You guys let me know. Make sure you guys subscribe. Thank you again for tuning in to the St. Louis Cardinals Daily Podcast. We're already over 600 subscribers. I thank you guys for joining me on this journey, and I'm excited to cover this team during the season when we have actual baseball happening. Guys, we're like 2 weeks away from pitchers and catchers reporting, 3 weeks. I'm excited for it, and we'll keep covering it here. Thanks for listening.